Don't want me to make a weird late evening snack? Fine, I'll eat something normal. My parents have this weird thing about eating at night, like they're totally fine eating yogurt or ice cream or whatever at 10 p.m., but the second I try to cook real food, they act like I'm committing a crime. Last week, I went to the grocery store around 8 at night because I had nothing to do. I was walking through the meat section when I saw this steak on sale. It was one of those yellow sticker deals where they mark it down because it's about to expire, like $3 for a pretty decent cut. I grabbed it and went home. Around 10 p.m., I was hungry, so I decided to cook it. I'm in the kitchen seasoning this thing, heating up the pan, and my mom walks in. She just stops and stares at me like I'm doing something crazy. She goes, "What are you doing?" "I'm making a steak, Mom. It was on sale." She gets this weird look on her face and calls my dad into the kitchen. My dad comes in and they're both just standing there watching me cook. Then my dad goes, "This makes us really uncomfortable." I turned around and looked at him. "What makes you uncomfortable? The fact that I'm cooking?" He's like, "No, it's just we were raised differently and eating a warm meal this late feels wrong." I could not believe what I was hearing. "You guys eat stuff at night all the time. What's the difference?" My mom jumped in and said, "That's different. We eat things like yogurt or a small snack. This is a full meal." So I asked them to explain the actual rule, like what's okay to eat at 10 p.m. and what's not okay. They couldn't give me a straight answer. My dad just kept saying it made them uncomfortable. My mom said warm meals at night weren't normal in their house growing up. I pointed out that they literally eat leftovers cold from the fridge at like 11 p.m. sometimes. But apparently that was fine because it wasn't freshly cooked. The logic made zero sense. I asked if it was the cooking smell. Nope. The time? Kind of. The type of food? Maybe. Finally, my mom said, "Look, yogurt or something sweet is fine because that could be considered a dessert, but cooking meat at this hour is just weird." "Okay," I said. "So dessert is okay at 10 p.m., but real food isn't." She nodded like she'd just solved the problem. I finished my steak and went to bed, but the whole thing was bugging me. The next day, I went to the store and bought the biggest, most ridiculous sponge cake they had. Like one of those 2-layer cakes with thick frosting that's meant for a birthday party. Cost me like $20. I brought it home and stuck it in the fridge. My parents didn't even notice. That night, I waited until exactly 10 p.m. Then I took that massive cake out of the fridge, put it on the kitchen table, and cut myself a huge slice. I'm talking like a quarter of the entire cake on one plate. My parents were in the living room watching TV when they heard me clanking around. My mom walks in first and sees me sitting there with this enormous piece of cake. "What on earth are you doing?" She looked genuinely confused. I smiled at her and said, "I'm eating dessert, Mom. You said dessert was fine at night. This is dessert." She opened her mouth to say something, but nothing came out. My dad walked in right then and saw the cake. He goes, "That's way too much cake to eat right now." I shrugged and took a huge bite. "But it's dessert. You guys said dessert was different and that it could be eaten at night. I'm just following your rules." They both started talking at the same time trying to explain why this was different, but I wasn't having it. "You told me yogurt was fine because it's dessert. This is literally dessert. Actually more dessert than yogurt if you think about it." My mom was getting frustrated. She said, "You know what we meant. Stop being difficult." But I genuinely didn't know what they meant because their rules made no sense. So I kept eating my cake, slowly, making sure they could see every bite. My dad eventually said, "You're being disrespectful and you know it." "Maybe," I said with my mouth full, "but I'm just eating dessert at night like you said was okay." They both stormed out of the room. I could hear them arguing in their bedroom about what to do. I finished that entire slice of cake. It was disgusting by the end, but totally worth it. The next morning, my mom told me I was grounded for 2 weeks. I asked why, and she said for being a smart aleck and deliberately defying them. I pointed out that I had literally followed their exact rules. She just shook her head and walked away. My dad barely looked at me during breakfast. The look on both their faces was honestly priceless, though. Like this mix of anger and confusion and defeat because they knew I had found a loophole in their weird random rules. Was I being petty? Absolutely. Was it worth being grounded? 100% yes.